Hey everyone, how's it going? In this video, I'm bringing something a little different. I'll show you how to edit viral reels using DaVinci Resolve. This video will be a bit different because I won't just show you the process. I'll explain how each element works, why I use it, and what purpose it serves. That way, you'll be able to apply these techniques to your own videos or your clients' projects. As I usually do, I start by dragging a fusion composition onto the timeline. A fusion composition is where we create animations and visual effects. Here in a fusion page, you can see all the nodes I've created and edited. This node represents the image you can see here in a preview. To generate an image like this, I use the good old ChatGPT. I'm going to look for any image that I can use as a reference for ChatGPT to generate. You just need to type in a locations keyword and start looking for reference. I'm going to select this one, right click it and copy it. Now go back to ChatGPT and paste the image like this. Just ask it to generate the image like this. Sometimes it doesn't get it quite right, so let me fix it. I'm going to change the camera angle and make it a more aerial view of the island. Okay, I'll wait for it to generate the image. And there we go. This one has much better quality than anything we'd find on Google. And it also removes any unwanted text or details from the image. Alright, so in order we have the image, the multi-merge, the image plane, the merge 3D, the render. And the 3D camera is connected to the merge 3D. With the merge 3D selected, press 1 and you'll see the preview appear here on the left. The camera will start really close like this, so just move it back until you can see the entire image. As always, I use keyframes to create this zoom out effect. Here in the inspector, you can set these keyframes and then add the final keyframes here. With the playhead here, I'll set the final keyframes. These final keyframes will control the camera movement and create the zoom out effect, like this. Now I'm going to create this circle. You'll need these nodes, an ellipse, a background, and in the image, you're going to add a background node here and set the color to red. Connect the ellipse to the background to the image, and the image to the merge. Here in the ellipse, it will look like this. Then you just uncheck this box. And here in a border width, I'm going to increase it like this. And this will turn it into a circle. The circle will help guide the viewer's attention, but you can also use this outline style to draw attention right away. Now we're going to use these nodes for the text, camera shake, and glow image. You're going to add the text node like this, then press Shift plus space and search for this camera shake node like this, and you'll see these controls appear here, and you're going to set each option to these values here, especially this part. Here in Glow, I have a video where I teach how to use it, and I'll leave the link in the description. With the camera shake selected, drag the glow and connect it to the camera shake. And connect the glow to the image here. Here in quality, I usually leave it set to medium. Here in a text node, right click and choose the character level style. After you click it, this option will appear here under modifiers. Now you need to place the selector over the part of the text you want to select, like this. And you can change the color in the tab here, not in the Tools tab. Go to Splines and now look for the 3D camera. Select all the keyframes, right click and choose the Auto Cubic. And this is basically what this part of the reel will look like. The text will work as a dimensional hook. We have the camera movement, the highlighted yellow text, and the island. Now let's move on to the next scene. Here I showed two people, but I didn't add their names because I want to keep the viewer curious throughout the video. I did the same thing with that map. I found the reference image and asked it ChatGPT to improve its quality since the original was pixelated and low resolution. Okay guys, I brought it into the generated image and added these two color corrector nodes with a polygon on each one. In a color corrector, I lowered the gain. This will make the person's face black like this, and you can make it as dark as you want. To make only the face black, you need to add a polygon to the color corrector and then draw around the face. Okay, draw a polygon over here, connect it, and use it to draw precisely around the face. And you can do the same thing with the other one. You can either copy and paste it here or add a new polygon and color corrector. And that's how you can draw around the pencil's face or anywhere you want. Here we have these four nodes connected to the media out. The multi-merge is connected to the transform and the transform is connected to the media out. I made this zoom using the transform node itself by setting keyframes on a size parameter. Here I have these keyframes at the beginning to mark the start of the zoom and these final keyframes to mark where the zoom ends, using the center and size controls to create the zoom effect. Come over to Spline, select these keyframes, right click and choose Auto Cubic. This makes the zoom feel much smoother. To create a circle, I also use the polygon and background, just like in a first clip. Okay, here on a polygon, I set the border width to this value, and I also added these keyframes to animate the circle as I get drawn. Scrolling down a little bit, we have the text node. So to create this type in animation, I use these two keyframes down here and widen. Come here, add a keyframe, lower the widen, and then increase it on the other keyframe. This camera shake will add a slight shake to the text. And here in a panel, set these values for scale and speed. Select the text, press Shift and Space, search for camera shake, and click Add. The values will look like this, and you can change them to these settings here. And here I added glow to make the text stand out a bit more. And the transform is connected to the multi-merge, and these are all the nodes connected to each other. Alright, now let's move on to this map animation. Here I added a line showing the distance from the island to the coast, along with a 35-kilometer label, and use the camera movement to follow the line. This node contains the image I generated with ChatGPT as well. I use this transform to create the camera movement using keyframes. Here on Google, I look for images to use as reference for ChatGPT to generate the image. I'll go with this on. You can clearly see that it'll work well to illustrate the distance between the coast and the island. I'm gonna copy the image here. I'm gonna paste the image here. And with this prompt, it'll generate the image in better quality as well. Great, now we have the image and we're going to bring them into DaVinci. Once you bring the image in, press Shift and Space and search for this transform. You need to connect the transform to the multi-merge. And the multi-merge goes into the other transform. I mainly used this transform to create the camera-like movement. And I used this polygon to create this line along the edge of the coast. The polygon connected to the background with this yellow color. The background connected to this glow with the glow level set to ultra, and this transform connected to this merge. To create this line, you need to drag a polygon over here and draw around the object like this. Then come over here to border width and increase it, and that's how you get a line. Now, to create this dashed line, it was much easier. I just used a text node and typed the dashes using the keyboard. Transform using a shift and space and connected to the merge. Here in this box, you type the dashes using the keyboard and it'll look like this. And then you can copy and paste it and keep increasing the line length. And here's the glow, which adds a glow to the line. And this transform connected to the merge as well. This text shows the distance and kilometers, and here is a glow, and the transform connected to the merge. Here in a text transform, by adjusting the X, you can give the text a perspective effect. Now move on to this node. This is a skull emoji. I used it to indicate danger on this island. Here on Google, you can find example emojis and download them. These two transforms are different, okay? I'll also use this transform to give this color perspective effect. By adjusting the yaw, you can give it the emoji like 3D tilt, and with the page, you can tilt the emoji upward so you don't get confused and talk about this transform here. And this other transform, I mainly used it to move the emoji and adjust its size. Here we have this text, so to make only part of it yellow, come over here and select the character level styling. Here in modifiers, you're going to select the text you want to change the color of, then you click here and change the color to whatever you want. For the camera shake, I keep these main settings so the text has a much smoother shake. To add it, just press Shift and Space and select this one. The nodes need to be connected like this, text to camera shake and camera shake to glow. Here in a glow, I keep it on low. And I keep the transform connected to this merge here. Going back to the coastline line, I use length and keyframes to animate it. Here in a text, to create this animation, I use write on and keyframe. To create an animation, set a keyframe at the beginning and another at the end. Then change the value. DaVinci will animate the transition between them. For this text, I used keyframes on a size. At the first keyframe, I made it smaller. And at the last keyframe, I set it back to its normal size. Now for the emoji, I used this transform to create the animation instead of the other one. Here, I also used the size along with the keyframes. And this text, I also used to write on with the keyframes to create this typing effect. At the first keyframe, I reduced the size, and at the last keyframe, I brought it back to its normal size. Here, for the camera shake, I use these values for motion scale and speed scale. All the nodes are connected here to this merge, right? And the merge is connected to this transform, which is used to create the movement on the screen. So you position it here and increase the zoom a little using size. You need to keep it whatever you want out of the camera's focus. Then move the playhead forward and add more keyframes. Move the camera to the other side you want and reduce the size. Move the playhead forward again, add more keyframes and zoom in on what you want. Now go over to the Splines tab, right click and select Alt Cubic. So that's it for this video guys. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll be bringing you much more in-depth videos and maybe even a part 2 of this one, since this is actually a short that I edited.